Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be working on this new expansion table right here, trying to work out some ideas and concepts for this area here. So let's get started. All right, so in one of my more recent videos, I actually went ahead and I finally built the expansion table and I got it in here. And I have a couple of different pieces on it right now, trying to gauge where things can go here. But this is what I laid out in the last video here. And so these gray base plates are going to extend to the rest of the table here. And then the white base plates here are actually going to end up at the same height as the regular city here. So if I go ahead and I remove this white base plate is actually going to end up top here. And then the switch track at the end there is going to have a siding, a train siding, and that is going to end up on this base plate right here. So that is the plan for that. We're not going to be building that table extension today, unfortunately, but I want to go ahead and I want to get going on this stuff here just because I have a few ideas for the water design and also for the train track and a couple other things in this area. So I just want to jump right into it. So let's get started. All right, so I went ahead and I put most of the base plates in. I added these 4 gray ones as well as all the green ones up at the top there. I'm leaving this section open here because it's 20 inches wide, so I have to figure out what exactly I'm doing here. These were just to get the right height over here between the two tables here. So the actual height between the tables here is just at 10 bricks, which is the same height as this post here, which actually works out great. So that is good. And then once I get that expansion table in, I can start permanently placing those retaining walls. And then, like I said, as for this space here, I want to put the Ferris wheel here. So I'm actually just going to bring it over to the studio here and then put it right there. And then this area, I'm probably just going to leave open for the time being. But I did want to go ahead and add the track in. And so that is what I've already started doing here. As you guys can see, this curve right here lines up with that switch. Obviously, all these green base plates are going to be raised up. So that's going to be at the same height. And then so I just need 2 more track segments for that base plate, 2 more for this one, and 2 more for this one right here on the edge. So that is what I'm going to do. And then eventually I will have to also expand out the train station platform here as well. But that will come in due time. So actually, before we get started on the water and all of that stuff, let me do the train track and I'll show you guys how that all looks. All right, so I'm going ahead and I am ballasting the train track segments that are required for this. And so basically, I'm just doing this 3 times over. So I am doing it for this one base plate here. And this is done. I did all of the rail ties on here. I've talked about how I ballast the train track before in previous videos. So I'm not going to go too into depth with it, but it's basically just 2 layers of 2x dark bluish gray plate. And then I put supporting pieces under the seams. So there is a 1x1 plate on the edge here, like you can see. And then there is a 1x2 plate under the seams of those 2 pieces. And then a seam here under those 2 pieces where the seam is. And then there, and then the 1x1 on the end as well. And then the 2x4 plates just sit on stacks of 1x2 plates. And that is pretty much it, to be honest with you. So it's pretty simple. And then, so once that is done, you know, it's going to go there. And I did this one already as well. So again, this is the same thing. And I do like to go in and add the dark brown 1x1 plates and the 1x4 tile as well, just to add a little bit of variation to the whole scene here. And I think it looks good, like the ties have been replaced or they are worn down and need to be replaced. So I think that adds a little bit of extra texture to the whole thing, and I think that looks pretty good. And then this last piece right here, unfortunately I actually don't have enough 1x4 black tiles. That is something I did not think would happen, so I didn't buy enough. This is from that small order that I did relatively recently that came in with the road plates and the crossing, and where I talked about the plans for 2025. And so this is pretty much everything that came in that besides those crossing 8x16s, obviously. So I had bought a bunch of 1x1s because I was like, oh, I need to ballast this whole section here. So why don't I just buy a bunch of 1x1 tiles and then that'll be enough. But I only bought a small amount of the 1x4 black tiles because I was like, oh, you know what? I don't need a whole lot of them. And yet here I am, 15 short. So that is really unfortunate. And I also just need to go and grab the 1x2 plates for that. So I will do that momentarily as well. And then I need to go in and finish ballasting this one as well. But you can see how what I do in here is pretty basic. It's pretty standard. And then since this track segment is going to be right on the edge of the table here, what I decided to do was just put gray plate on the edge just to make it look clean and make it look like a clean edge right there. And then so once this is on the edge here, again, this will be raised up to this height here, but that is what it's going to look like on the edge there. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. And so that's pretty much it with these track segments here. There's not a whole lot to talk about, but I just wanted to show you guys that really quick. And so unfortunately, I won't be able to finish the rail ties today, but the rest of it I can finish without a problem. So let me connect these up and also add the tiles on the backside so the train station platform can sit on it. So let me grab a section of that really quick for you. This is the section that is currently on the city, and so I need to go in and add tiles along this edge here, so then the train station platform can sit on this edge here, and I can easily remove it since it's going to sit on both base plates and also both tables as well. So I wanted to have that easily removable, so I'm just going to go in and add a row of tiles, and that's pretty much it for this section of track here. All right, so now that the light gray tile is in, I want to shift my focus over to starting to design some of the water here. I've been accumulating a lot of 3x3 dark blue plate over the last few months, as well as a bunch of random shaped black and regular blue plates and all of these bigger pieces as well. And so I want to go in and I want to start to design a water design here. There have been a lot of cool designs online, from Brickcrafts to Bricksy and a lot of other people that use different variations of colors like black and dark blue, regular blue, medium azure, and also dark azure as well. Those, I'm probably actually going to end up using some of those techniques in this, I think, because I think it looks really good. And honestly, if it's not broken, I'm not going to try and fix it. So I'm just going to go ahead and I might see how far I can get. I definitely don't have enough tiles. I could maybe only get like a small corner of it, but I want to at least lay some of the plate down on this base plate here, and I want to see how the underlying plate is going to look, and then we can take it from there. All right, so I've been pretty busy since that last clip, and I pretty much just filled up this entire base plate with plate. I stuck to mostly black and dark blue here, and then I added a sprinkle of regular blue in as well, because I want this back corner to be the deepest portion of water. So that is kind of my reasoning for that. I do still need to go in and add a couple more smaller plates, but this used a lot more pieces than I thought it would. This bag was full, like you just saw a second ago, and it is almost empty. I thought maybe that bag could get me 2 base plates of sporadic placement of 3x3 plate here, but evidently not. I did use a lot of 3x3 plate in this, and then, you know, obviously a lot of black plate as well. And then on the other base plates, it's going to be mostly regular blue and dark blue, and then like the lighter colors beyond that. And then this one will be almost the same as this, I'm thinking. And then it'll kind of, the shoreline or the less deep areas will kind of cut like that almost. That's a very rough outline, but you kind of get what I'm saying there. And so I think this looks pretty good. So now we can just go ahead and add whatever tiles I have on it, and we can see how it all looks. All right, so this is pretty much all the tiles that I had left here. There's, I don't know, maybe like 50 or 60 of them, and so I just put them all down. And I tried this different pattern out because in the lake by the farm, I did them just kind of in rows that were staggered, kind of like this here. So pretend that these are all 1x2 tiles. They were kind of like that. And so I didn't want to repeat that, so I might end up ripping this up and going back to that, because I don't know how the waves would look if I continue with this pattern here. But yeah, I don't know. I do have the 1x1, so I have to go in and add those. But this is going to be a much bigger project than I initially thought here. So, yeah, I have no idea what the rest of this table is going to look like now, because I'm kind of doubting myself a little bit, and also my plan, because originally my plan was to have this base plate be entirely water, this base plate be mostly water, like maybe half of it is water. So this base plate, half of this one, all of that one there, again, maybe half of this one, and then this one is almost all of it again, and then it's going to start cutting through this way. So there's not going to be much water on this one, but this one will be almost full water. This one will be half water, maybe something like that. And then, so that's, that's a lot of base plates here. There's 1, 2, well, that both of these would be halves, so that counts as 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that half plus that would be about 5 of these 48 by 48 gray base plates. That's a lot of pieces, and also specifically a lot of tiles as well. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. I might end up changing that plan, but I do still want to add the Ferris wheel in just to place it here for looks. It is going to go up at that same height as the city, and so obviously it's not going to the final resting place of it is not going to be there. But I want to go in and add that just to kind of get a visual of kind of what it's going to look like. So let me do that really quick, and I'll show you guys how that looks. All right, so there it is placed in the city here. Obviously, like I just said, it's temporary, but I think that looks pretty good there. It is going to sit at that same height as the rest of the main city here, like I said. But I think it looks good there, and it is pretty dusty, but I think this viewpoint here looks really good. And so if I take a little bit of a step back here, you can see pretty much the whole city here is looking pretty good. And this is kind of the view of it at the moment here. So we are going to have the water up in the front, and then the train siding on that elevated platform right there, the Ferris wheel, and something is going to go there. There's going to be a road coming through here, which is probably going to end up being a bridge, which is pretty cool. And then coming over from there is the rest of the main city here, which you guys are familiar with, I'm sure. And if you're not, I'm going to put the most recent city overview in the top right corner for you, and just so you can check that out. But I think the city's coming along really nicely. And then we have the mountain in the back and also the crane on the side. So I think this will add a lot of really nice height and variations in height to the city as well, with the ocean being lower. And then the Ferris wheel is a pretty tall thing. And also the crane and the mountain are also really tall. So I think that's looking great. All right, so I think the expansion table is actually coming along really nicely at this point in time. Obviously, that other piece of wood isn't in yet, so these green base plates can't be up at the same height as the rest of the city, and the Ferris wheel also can't be up at the same height as the rest of the city. And there's a lot of work to do in this front section here, but I'm pretty happy with how this is all turning out here, and so that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. I did manage to find a handful more of black 1x4 tiles, so I actually only need 3 more, and then the entire city is completely ballasted. I just also have to go in and add the 1x2 plates, which I forgot about. But that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what I did, make sure to like the video and subscribe, as well as click the bell notifications so you don't miss any future uploads. If you have any feedback for me on the placement of the Ferris wheel and also the whole situation with the water, make sure to drop a comment down below. I would love to hear what you guys think. But seriously, once again, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.